It's November 15th, halfway through the month. We are, I don't know how many days, but like 30 some days before Christmas. The craziness is going to start. All the shopping and the cooking and the baking. It was really funny. This week, my son told me that if months were people, it would be really sad to be November because October has Halloween, December has Christmas, and November has nothing. Well, of course, it has Remembrance Day, but that's not really fun for a 10-year-old. I just love how kids' minds work. It's always so amazing. And we have somebody that has a really, really incredible mind on the show today. My partner, Nancy Seeger, she is going to talk about list building. If you own a business or are thinking of starting a business, this is a workshop that you need to take. And we're going to find out, how did she ever get into list building? And why does she like list building? What does it do for her? So it's going to be a really interesting chat. Stay tuned. Now, I want to talk about what's going on this week for Women Talk. Of course, we have our events this week. The first one, no, sorry, that's not. The first one is going to be in Okotoks. Let me bring that one up. So our first event, it's going to be Okotoks, and then we're going to have Strathmore. So Okotoks is on Tuesday, and we have 3 Women Talk member talking because one is a duo. Linda Craig and Tanya Zepsi are going to talk about same-sex relationship. And it's quite interesting because Tanya is also a relationship expert, so it could be really cool. And of course, Amy Hutton, who is the volunteer galore, is going to be sharing a story. And then in Strathmore, we have a director sharing her story, Dixie Bennett. If you have not heard Dixie talk, go. Dixie is amazing. She is an amazing, amazing storyteller. And then, of course, Women Talk member Annette Stanwyck, who is like one of the most elegant women I have ever met. She is just so incredible. Whoops, I got click happy here and I removed myself. If you're wondering, how do these people get to talk at all those locations so much? Well, we have a membership. You see, everybody is welcome to come and share their stories at Women Talk. I'm just looking here. I have some issues with my buttons today. Everybody's welcome to come and share their stories at Women Talk. We love it. It doesn't cost you anything. You do not have to have done it before. It is your story. You know how to share your story. So go and apply, womentalk.ca/apply. But if you want a little bit more out of your membership and you would like to become a good speaker so that you can talk in front of people and present your business in a powerful way, stories are the way to do it. So we have created a membership with you that has so many perks. It's crazy. On top of speaking a lot and receiving discounted workshop, and it's just, and the tribe. This tribe is so amazing. If you go to any of my Facebook accounts, you'll see that it is truly an amazing tribe. So come and join. We would love to have you. And the last thing I want to point out is, did you know that Women Talk has a podcast? That's right. We are well on our way to 3,000 downloads. It is all about stories. It is your stories being shared in a podcast. So go and apply to be on the podcast as well. But just so you know, we always give our members priority for our podcasts. So if you want to make sure that you get on the podcast, you get on the Women Talk show live on Friday, that you get to speak at all those locations, simple. Become a member. Okay, enough said about my little Friday morning commercial. I'm going to bring my guest on because she is a very interesting lady who has a brain that is so different than mine. Like if you were to look at my brain, it would be like this. When you look at Nancy's brain, it is so organized. Everything has a place. And I find it fascinating. And she really has helped me develop some of our systems. actually all of our systems, so that we can grow. So let's bring Nancy on and see how she is doing. Hello, Nancy.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Friday morning.
Woo, woo, woo. It's almost the weekend.
Yeah. Like we always say, the entrepreneurs never really take weekends anyhow, but it's that concept of celebrating something. We're celebrating the end of 5 days.
Exactly. So you've obviously, most people know this, you became 50% owner of Women Talk last May.
Yep.
And have been working your petunias off building system for this company, because there's a lot of moving parts. And then I keep springing some on you.
It's getting better, though. It's getting better.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a lot more organized. So tell me, how did you ever get in the line of work that you're in? And we'll elaborate a little bit more about all the things you do, but how did you get into building systems?
Well, so a lot of the members have heard me tell about my hostage story and how I actually looked at things and analyzed things. But I think in some ways, I think you're born to certain things. If you look at my family, a good 50% of them are programmers. They have that left brain linear thing. And this is actually, Seeger Consulting is actually, well, Women Talk is my 6th incorporated company. Seeger Consulting is my 5th. And it was through a progression of learning the ropes on business and learning what had to be done and designing CRM systems back when I was in corporate and figuring out the tools that work. But always kind of dabbling in the sales side. I was director of international sales for a computer software company before my kids were born. And like I say, I just transferred all of that as I grew. I think the universe kind of puts us in front of whatever it is that we need to do next. And for me, after corporate, I needed to understand how to run my own business. So I went through several iterations of that. And then I got the luxury of working with this fantastic organization called YPO, which stands for Young Presidents Organization. And they were all a bunch of CEOs. And I worked and shared the room with these guys for 5 years, learning, how they approach business and how they balance work, life, and family, and doing workshops and events with them and planning events. And at the end of it, I came out of it, very much a changed person, very much with a different perspective. And the natural thing is, my natural genius, as you know, is in systems. It's in connecting all the dots and putting pieces together. And it doesn't matter what it is. I understand the sales. I understand the marketing side of it. I understand how businesses run, and that technology is the biggest hurdle for a lot of small business owners, is how to get money out of it and only invest in what gives you good results.
Yeah. What do you find is the biggest mistake small entrepreneurs do?
Ping pong. They don't have a plan. They tend to do, and I'm not talking about you, Brigitte, but they all tend to follow this expert and do this for a week and follow this expert, and it's the next shiny thing, the next thing. Shouldn't be emailing. I should be using Facebook Messenger. I shouldn't be using Facebook Messenger. I should be using bots. I should be doing this. It's whatever the next thing is. And without a strategy and a plan and a real consistent understanding of what those tools are and how they work together, you're just kind of throwing money at it. It's like doing Facebook advertising without understanding who you're targeting. You're just throwing money at these things, and you can't get ahead. You cannot make progress.
So what's the first thing you get small entrepreneurs to do when they work with you?
Well, if you were to work with me one-on-one, we assess the systems you currently have and what's working. We look at what's working first, just like we did with your application when we started looking at your systems, Brigitte. It was what's working, what's the priority, and I spend a lot of time analyzing, okay, what are the moving pieces? How is it currently happening, and how should it be happening? What is the nirvana that we want to make revenue, and what's the big vision goal? Because if you don't know where you're going, you cannot create a map to get there. But that map is going to give you the best results, because it's going to show you how to. Marketing is all about building momentum in your business. It's all about figuring out what feeds off of the next thing. So you always are going to have stuff that fails, but the reality is, if you're always building on what works, you are going to keep getting closer and closer to your nirvana.
And what's the hardest thing to do for them?
For most business owners, the hardest thing is to get out of, I can do it all myself and I don't need, this system works. So, even though it's free and it gives me this, it's enough for me right now, because the problem is that's a mindset issue. And if you limit yourself to something that works today and isn't capable of growing with you, you're always going to be rebuilding the wheel. You can't build momentum on that. You have to build into systems with, and I always say, budget for today, but build with a 5-year vision in mind, because know where you're going, and then build things so that it's easily expandable, easily scalable, because you're going to hit a critical point in your business where either the revenue or the clients have maxed you out and you need to expand quickly. So if your systems are already in place, then it might be adding one tool this month and one tool next month. But if your systems aren't in place, you can't scale. You've got to start all over.
So what kind of budget should a new entrepreneur have for building, let's stick with, emailing or ways of communicating and sending offers to your customers? So what kind of a budget should you look at?
It's an excellent question. And what I always say is, if in the early phases of your business, marketing and setting it up should take up 50% of your income. And the reason I say that is because usually when you're starting out, you don't have a team, you don't have, all of those extra expenses. But if you're making $500 a month, put $250 of it back into building something that's going to grow for you. Because the reality is later on, when you're at 6 figures, it can go down as low as 25%, including your staff. You can have a great profit margin, but you need to build the foundation first.
Why emails? I'm not a big
yeah.
And I know the answers up to this, because I've worked with you. But so I personally, I'm not a big email fan anymore, and it is for my personal use. But I'm going to share a little bit of my knowledge here. The one thing that I have seen is that whenever you do anything, Facebook is my choice, my platform of choice. Anything you do on there, you don't really own.
Nope.
And but like, for example, many times Facebook doesn't like how many people I know and how many people I invite. Like, for example, my personal feed, I'm almost maxed out. You can only have 5,000 followers. That's it. Well, if you want to go a big international corporation, that's not going to work. So then you go to Pages, but then you're so limited. Like, there's so many rules. And although I personally don't like using email all that much I'm texting and Facebook messaging, I've really come to realize it is absolutely crucial for your business. What do you say to that?
I totally support that. There is a place for all of these other technologies. And what you're talking about is the relationship building side of it. You can never remove, no matter how much you automate, you can never remove the human element. People buy from people. Period. If there isn't that persona out front, if there isn't somebody connecting with them in some way, whether it's these Facebook lives or text messaging or live events, it will be a downward slide over time. But what email gives you is the stability. Like I said, it's about building momentum. So if Facebook shuts you down, which it can do for any reason, if you're
and they shut down like millions of accounts a year.
Millions and millions. I'll give you the statistics, but the reality is they shut down millions of them every year. If they happen to shut you down, you're out of business if that's your only place of connection. But if you have their email addresses, if you have them in there, you can stay in touch for other variables. As you know, Women Talk does a lot of email, like a weekly email about the upcoming events, right? Do we take events on, do we have a lead magnet or anything gets me? No, because that's not the business model that works for us.
Yeah.
But it is about finding those tools that work for you. And Facebook gives a lot of activity and a lot of excitement. And also your audience is very much there. So you never want to give up on those tools. But the thing to understand is there is also, as of 2018, the end of 2018, there is over 7,000 different technology tools, such as email and social media platforms and engagement platforms and messaging platforms and chatbots, over 7,000 of them right now that you could be putting your platform on. And email's the only one that's been consistent since day one. Yeah. It's consistently grown. It's consistently supported. And here's the key thing to it. You need an email address to sign up for any one of those 7,000 platforms.
Boom. Everybody has an email. Everybody.
Everybody has an email.
Nancy, you would be so proud of me. I started collecting email addresses in 1999. Actually, probably 99 is when I opened my store. I had no clue what the heck I was going to do with it. I had a little piece of paper at a sports store, a women's sports store, and people would write their name and their email address. And I said, well, we have a sale or something. Like, I'll send you an email. I would send people email like one person at a time. And I had 10 people on my list. So.
You know what? And that's where everybody starts, really.
Yeah.
Until you your first 5 customers and until you get some reason to grow it. But again, it's about building momentum, right?
Yeah.
So if you can do it on a consistent basis and you can do it in a way that doesn't take a lot of your time, email marketing actually still returns about a $40 return on investment for every dollar that you invest in email marketing. So if you're doing it correctly, you can actually make a lot of money with your list. I live off my email list because I have global clients, and 90% of the work I do, unless I'm on a coaching call with somebody, it's done by email. It's done by, in fact, my long-term clients for systems integrations, they have an email address that I respond to personally if they're a high client. And literally, if I can answer it by email in less than 10 minutes, I never charge them. I've had some clients emailing me for 8 years saying, well, how do we do this again? And I just send them a link to one of my videos that are online because I know where it is and I know what he's asking me. But the reality is if I didn't have that, I couldn't keep in touch with all those clients. And I can tell you, even though all of them are not active clients right now, there are people who refer people to me all the time.
Totally. So let's say I'm pretty much new, even though I may have had a business for a while and I haven't really done much marketing. And of course I have an email because everybody has an email. So what's step one, and then what program do I use?
Well, there's no right answer for which program because it really depends. Every email program that's out there has a ton of different features. So one of the things we'll do in the workshop is and even if I work with you personally, we assess what are your primary, do you sell business to business? Do you sell business to consumer? You need different platforms for that. What are the basics that you want to do? Do you just want to do an email blast, or do you actually want to onboard new clients?
What does that mean, onboard new clients?
So if you get a new client, is there a standard set of emails and instructions that you send them on how to work with you? That's an onboarding sequence. All of those kind of tools can be automated with the right programs, not with the simple ones. There's tons of free ones out there you can start with. But again, like I said, and in some people, I even recommend they start there and come back when they have 50 clients. There's no one answer. I mean, my preferred, I have always, because I designed CRMs a lifetime ago. And
what CRMs?
So customer relationship management systems, the big database systems that help all of these companies talk to you. I used to design them way back in the day. And because I used to,
she was brainy.
So because I used to design them and I have a background in marketing, when I found Infusionsoft, of course, I fell in love with it. But as you well know, Infusionsoft has multiple versions. The big version is the big version is going to make you crazy if you're not set up for it.
Like, I'm pretty techie. Like, I know I play around and stuff, but I've used a lot of programs, and I bought Infusion. That's what actually brought us together, which is brilliant. I bought Infusionsoft, the big package, not knowing any better. And, and it is big. That's the thing, right? Like, I bought something that if I had not brought you on board, I would have dumped it because it was too much for me. I would never have used. And I mean, and Infusionsoft is like, oh my God, it's so big.
It's
so to have actually a meeting with you at the very least to talk, what should I do? What should I get? Would be a good stepping stone. Like, before anybody makes a decision on what platform they're going to use, they should talk to an expert such as you, or go to the workshop.
I was going to say, the
and
first
you'll
thing
get
is
a better
come
idea.
to the workshop, and then we're going to outline, what's important and how you make some of these decisions. And I'm going to demo and talk about a couple of different packages that are available to people based on the starting level of where they're at. It's really important to understand the criteria for the decisions of what platform to use. And we're going to start with that. We're going to go into, why you need it, what the messaging needs to say, how you're going to say it. We're going to make it really easy to know what to say, because people get stuck on emails and say, well, I just don't know what to say to my list, right? But if you have all of this outlined up front, then we'll brainstorm and show you how to use basic technologies. Even for websites, you don't need a website. You need an email list first, believe it or not, because you can use landing pages, one-off pages, structured stuff that is so focused, and we can save you so much hassle trying to connect all the technology by putting it all in one place. Like, it's just a way of simplifying it to get you from 0 to 50 paying clients every month. It really is about starting there. And like I said, the technologies, we'll look at, we'll talk a little bit about some of the free ones that are available. We'll talk about Infusionsoft, because of course that's, my favorite. I also represent Constant Contact and Active Campaign, so I can put you into those platforms if it's a better fit. And depending on your business type, and depending whether you want a membership site or what you want to do, all of those change which one is the best fit for you long term, and which one is going to be the least expensive for you to operate. Because the real expense to these systems is what it's going to cost you to operate it ongoing.
Yeah, I'm just going, actually, I forgot to put the link here. I'm going to put this in the comment, and I'll put it here. It'll be below the comment if people want to sign up for the workshop. So tell me about the workshop. It is going to be on November 23rd, I think.
Yeah, November 23rd. It's a morning workshop, 3 hours, 9 till noon. The price is $197, but Women Talk members get $50 off of that price. You use the same membership discount code you do to attend events. And it's like, we're going to cram almost too much stuff into that time frame. As Brigitte knows, I tend to overteach because I can't simplify it enough. And this actually used to be a 3-day workshop, and I'm going to skim through some of the stuff, but the critical important exercises will be there. We'll show you how to use the technology. We'll show you how to pick the right technology and how to set yourself up for success in it. And then we'll have some ongoing comments and structures for way to follow up and get more information later on.
All right, so I just, did I get it on there? Let me see. No, I didn't. We're going to have it. Sorry, we were talking about other stuff because, of course, being partners, we always take a moment to catch up on everything. And there it is. Woo! So seegerconsulting.com/listbuilding101 is where you go to sign up for the workshop. It will totally point you in the right direction before you make any big decisions. If you've just changed something in your life, or you have just wanting to grow, you're wanting to simplify. I mean, that's what brought me to Nancy, right? That's exactly what happened to me. Is Women Talk blew up, and then I was just, oh my God, like I didn't even have time to sleep anymore. I was hosting 13 events a month. I was doing it all myself, no automation. There was no way I could grow anymore. Not a chance. And it's taken a long time to actually really, since Nancy's come on board in May, we have been on pause because we have had to build and clean up and really reorganize everything we do. If I would have started maybe in the first place with the right tools, it would have just been seamless.
Yeah.
So
well, the momentum stalled, and now we're ramping back up, and now you've got a bunch of classics planned for the next years and a bunch of list going items, and it's all automated. It's all taken care of. The invitations, everything is all set up. Even our monthly events are all automated.
I know. It takes some work to be that organized, Nancy. It takes work to be this organized, people. She is so organized. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do this. Like, oh, wait a minute, there's some automation happening. Like, I can't, But honestly, I know that it is absolutely incredible. So if you're ready to grow your business, start your business, get it going, go to the List Building 101 with Nancy. I promise you. Actually, you know what? You should almost give 100% guarantee. If they don't learn that thing, you'll give them their money back. No? Because I know they'll learn. I know they will.
I'm not worried about that. And if anybody has an issue afterwards, just email me. But I'm not worried about it at all, because I've never had anybody say they didn't learn something.
I know, because you do. You have a lot of great information in your workshops. And for $197, you guys, it could save you thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Well worth the investment.
And really, to be honest, I mean, my goal is to grow businesses in Alberta, especially women's businesses, because I think women drive the economy. And the reality is, if we can get more women doing the foundational work and get the structure in place and get them growing faster, you know, I don't care what the oil industry does. I really don't, because I know, and I have seen so many women who are coaches. The average coach makes 28,000, and I've seen so many of them with these kind of systems go into high six figures and low seven figures in a year or two. So to me, it's just critical we get the foundation in there, which is why the price is so low to start with.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for being my guest. Thank you for being my partner and automating all this stuff and organizing me. So, but you know what? Although I just want to add this, although it's been difficult for me to get adjusted to all this automation and stuff, and I want to be in the creative side of things all the time, I wasn't able to be there as much as I wanted anyway, because I was so busy fixing things, and I still am, like trying to organize things. But I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, where I will then be able to do what it is that I'm good at doing, because everything else will be taking care of itself. And that's an incredible, like if you're a coach or if you're a healer or whatever your thing is, and that's where you want to spend your time. Well, I tell you, if you don't organize your lists and how you do business, take a chunk of that fun stuff out to organize that right now, you will hit the wall. And then you have no time to be in the place where you love being.
And you lose so much when you try and gain it back. You lose that momentum.
Yeah. Yeah. So go and take the List Building 101 November 23rd with Nancy. We'll have the link just below the video here. Just click on it, sign up, and we'll see you on November 23rd. Thank you, Nancy.
Thanks, Brigitte. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Bye.